Hello, my friends. Brian King here, the Resilience Warrior for ADHD and Asperger's. I had a fantastic conversation with a Facebook friend yesterday, and our focus was how do you cancel out that repetitive, nagging loop of negative thoughts that come up every time you even conceive of taking action on something that you deem important. You know, you get an exciting idea, you want to do something, and then all of a sudden your brain starts chattering with, oh man, that's dumb, or people might be mad at you, or what if people don't like it? Or do you really think you're smart enough to do that? And it just tears your sails down. It doesn't even take the wind out of your sails. It tears your sails down. And then you end up doing nothing. But then there's a part of you that really wants to do something new, really wants to take a chance. But that inner critic is just too powerful. Well, what I want to share with you right now is part of a strategy for interrupting, canceling out those negative thoughts so that they don't stop you anymore. And it's pretty straightforward. It's going to take some work because these little boogers can be hard to interrupt. So get out a pen and paper, and I'm more than happy to send you these questions. In fact, you know what? I think I'll put them in the comments to make it easier so you don't have to take notes. But here's the first thing we're going to do. Think about that voice in your head. The one that always sounds the same, always says the same stuff, is always sabotaging you in the same way. Let's give that voice a name, as though it were its own entity, a separate individual. It's no longer you talking to you. It's someone else talking to you. In my case, my negative voice's name is Rufus. Why did I name him that? Because I think it sounds a little silly, and it's easier for me to hear the name Rufus and not be intimidated by it. You know, I'm not going to name it after my father or somebody that I find intimidating, because then all that extra emotional baggage comes up. You can even name the voice Mickey or, some other childlike sounding name, because what you want to be able to do is discredit this voice the moment you hear it. So the voice shows up and I say, oh, there's Rufus sticking his ass into my process here again. So my immediate response to Rufus is, this isn't somebody I want to listen to. And it's important to have that immediate response, okay? So once you have the name for this voice, the next thing you're going to do is write down the language, the thoughts, the beliefs that Rufus or whoever it is always throwing in your face. So if your voice is always saying, hey, you're not good enough for this, write it down. Or, are you sure you're smart enough to take this on? Write that down. Get the most common beliefs, the most common statements that are always showing up, and create some space in between them, because you're going to make some notes here. Once you got those written down, the next thing you're going to do is challenge those beliefs, okay? And there's a series of 4 questions that you're going to go through for each belief. The first one is, says who? So if your voice speaks up and says, man, I don't think you're smart enough for this, the first challenge question is, says who? Where's the committee? Was there a poll? Was there research? No, the second question is an extension of the first one, and it's, what credibility does this person have? What makes, in my case, Rufus an authority on whether I'm smart enough or whether I'm good enough? When I think about it, there's absolutely no authority. The third question is, what facts prove this statement true? Okay, now in reality, there may be some evidence that you did some stupid stuff. Who the heck doesn't? Even the smartest among us does some stupid stuff, where we didn't look before we leapt and we hurt somebody's feelings or we caused some damage. And so, okay, there's some evidence there that maybe we're not the smartest person there is, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we're not smart enough for this. Now, the final question here. What facts prove this statement wrong? Because again, we want to disprove this. So in the case of, man, are you sure you're smart enough to do this? Well, what's all of the proof that you are smart? You can make intelligent decisions. You do take risks, and your instincts are good, because you want to overwhelm this thought with evidence that it is full of baloney. Now, these series of questions and these steps that I just offered you are just the first phase of this strategy. There's an entirely second half that is focused on, once you've canceled out and disproven this negative belief, you've got to replace it with a positive one so that you have something now that when you think about taking action, you're now empowered, energized. All you can see are the possibilities. All you can see is this working. And you don't sabotage yourself anymore. Instead, you get to work, you make things happen, and your life changes. But you've got to start with this part first. So work on this part, and if it really works for you, and I suspect it will, because I wouldn't offer it to you and otherwise, and you want to go on to the second part, send me a message, and I will personally run you through it one-to-one. So get started with this. If there are other folks that you think can benefit from this, please share. This has been Brian, and we'll talk again soon.